Welcome, ladies and gents. Chris Andre here. You can find me at BetBoxing on Twitter, or of course you can subscribe to the channel. Let's talk boxing. Let's talk about Anthony Joshua and Oleksandr Usyk. A lot of people have been criticizing AJ, saying he's gotten his mind off of the game, that he's not focused, he's yet to have a trainer. And Eddie Hearn recently said, listen, I spoke to AJ about this and he said, I don't need a trainer to beat Oleksandr Usyk. Personally, I just feel that's a bit of noise from the promoter, a lot of bluster. I don't for 1 minute think they think that AJ could just waltz in, be more aggressive and win this fight. So a lot of people are wondering whether Anthony Joshua has lacked professionalism and focus, but not a lot of people are asking another very important question. Has Oleksandr Usyk taken his eye off the ball? No pun intended, because Oleksandr Usyk has been involved in a football match. There he is warming up with some shadow boxing. He played for a second division Ukrainian team in a winter camper friendly, FC Policia. It might not seem like a big deal, but let's see some analysis here of Oleksandr Usyk's footballing skills and discuss what it means for him psychologically. There he is on the field, having a little skip, shaking off. He looks like an absolute unit compared to everybody else on the pitch. Look at this, though. What an air shot. Oh, like days, Oleksandr. You got to bury that, son. Little cut back from the teammate that reached the byline and he missed the ball. This is a lovely little header, though. Look at him finding a teammate, keeping the attack alive. God, Usyk's son. But this touch, oh my word, that was beautiful. Look at him being jostled, off balance, uses the outside of the foot. That is a lovely little touch to his teammate. Oleksandr Usyk might have a new career coming up, but this is what I really love. Here he is, started a counter-attack. God, son, look at him go. Perfectly weighted ball. Now look at this. Look at him run diagonally, draw the attacker, the defender away, and his teammates been brought down. No, just slide him in. Look at that, Oleksandr Usyk. Look at him, diagonal movement to draw the centre-back away. That is beautiful stuff from Oleksandr Usyk. But listen, all joking aside, why is this guy playing professional football, even as a friendly, where he's sprinting? You saw his teammate there get fouled with a slide tackle last minute. Why is he taking such a risk? What happens if he pulls a hamstring? What happens if he rolls over the ankle? Somebody goes in quite hard on him. They're probably told not to be fair. It was a friendly. But nonetheless, he is risking injury, is he not? And let's be honest here, that aside, at home in his home nation, it is a horrendous situation at the moment with what's going on with Russia and the Ukraine. And, you know, I pray that God lays his healing hand on the situation and we do not see any escalation. But this must be causing an awful lot of stress to Oleksandr Usyk. He is very patriotic, of course. You know, nobody wants to see conflict. That's the reality. And when it's your own nation, it's going to be raising your stress levels. So here he is playing football. He may have his mind on other things as well. Has Oleksandr Usyk taken his eye off the ball? Everybody's talking about Anthony Joshua. Let me know what you think. Moving on from that, last night, Chris Eubank Jr. put in what I thought was a terrific performance despite some of the criticism. He dropped Liam Williams 4 times. 3 of them were legitimate knockdowns on his way to a wide and comfortable victory. I understand a lot of people felt he lacked a killer instinct. He has since said in the press conference that he hurt his hand. And if that is indeed true, and he did hurt his hand and therefore he was unable to go for the finish, well, then you'd have to say it was a very accomplished performance, because he showed some devastating short shots, which I use the word devastating. A lot of people are saying, well, it's a lot to do with Liam Williams' punch resistance going. Whatever the case might be, he looked very, very good early on with those short shots, dropping his opponent. And then if he did indeed hurt his hand and he was unable to really put his foot on the gas, well, then what you saw was a guy get on the back foot and completely take away the ability of a very aggressive fighter and what looked like quite a small ring being able to get in close. So you've got to have respect for Chris Eubank Jr. in that regard. It was a little bit funny, though, this particular dude who on Instagram messaged Chris Eubank Jr. prior to the fight, and he said, Chris, I've just unloaded my life savings onto you to win by stoppage. Don't let me down. And Chris actually Instagrammed to say, now that's some belief right there. He will be fuming at his hero, Chris Eubank Jr., because after the first 4 hours, this kid must have been laughing all the way to the bank, lining up, waiting for the bank to open in the morning so he could cash in his winnings. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be for the kid. So who does Chris Eubank face next? He has spoken of Murata and Gennady Golovkin. Gennady Golovkin in particular, he seems very keen on. He says that he feels that he's all wrong for Golovkin. Of course, Golovkin is of a certain age now, and you know, if he was ever to have a chance against Golovkin, it would be now. But there has been something that's come out of left field as well that we can't ignore. Conor Benn has said he would love to fight Chris Eubank Jr. He fancies his chances at a catchweight. Eubank was initially asked about this in the changing room by IFL's Kugan Cassius, and he initially, when he was told Conor Benn's tweeted, he said, "Oh no," and he shook his head, "Don't read it out." He couldn't be bothered. And then when it was read out, he sort of semi-smiled, he giggled, he said he liked the idea. He said, why not? It would be incredible, something the fans would love to see, the two sons of two legends getting it on. It would be something terrific, and it would be, right? Just for nostalgic purposes, just as a storyline, it's incredible. But the reality is that at this stage of their careers, the current size that they're at, it's not a good fight for Conor Benn. Now, Ben Shalom has said he did not feel like it was a real offer. Kelly Sauerland was saying that he put the idea forth 6 weeks ago and that people were saying he was certifiably insane on Twitter. The thing is, though, how realistic is this at the moment? Chris Eubank Jr. himself was saying how in the future he wouldn't be against the idea, but let's be honest here. You've got a guy who had a chin at super middleweight, has operated at super middleweight, held his own there, is a significant middleweight now, against a guy who is a natural welterweight, who, yes, he carries a lot of pop and he's consistently improving. The improvement rate of Conor Benn is actually quite exceptional, to be honest with you. From where he was to where he's come from without a long amateur background is fantastic. Nonetheless, he is a guy that does get hit quite a bit. He gave an interview, a fantastic interview, with Adeola Depot, who's been smashing it really on TalkSport and DAZN. He's been doing really well. Does a great job. And Conor Benn was basically saying that he would rather be in an exciting fight rather than a boring fight and get the win. You know, he loves the idea of an exciting fight. That's what he wants to be remembered for. He reiterated this, I believe, in another interview. I think it was with Boxing Social. But the point is, it's something that's in his mind. He likes to be exciting, and as a result, he does get himself into areas where he can get touched himself to get off his big shots. Well, you saw with Chris Eubank yesterday, who would have the height and reach advantage. He can get off the back foot. He can roll with shots. He can lean behind that shoulder, and he can counter you or time you on your way in as you're trying to do that. It would be a very difficult fight for Conor Benn at this stage, but it would be something that would capture the imagination. Would you rather see that for nostalgic purposes and the storyline and the mythology behind it, or would you rather see Chris Eubank Jr. fight the winner of Murata and Golovkin? Personally, for me, it's the latter, but you can't help but get excited by the former. Now, finally, we're talking about Oleksandr Usyk and football. Check this out from Canelo Alvarez. He was talking about playing golf, how he plays 4 hours a day and actually trains boxing 5 hours a day. When he was asked about this, he said, well, it's the only way you can get better. So he's a man clearly of many, many talents, multi-talented. Look at this shot. This is ridiculous. If you saw Tiger Woods or someone do this, you'd be applauded. Look at that. That is insane. So anyway, Canelo Alvarez, a man of many talents. Let me know what your opinions are on everything we've spoken about today. Please hit that like, subscribe, and notification button. Take care, and God bless.